So this is an update of the story of Codi Bigsby, the little toddler who was murdered by his own father, and still his body has never been recovered. His dad, Cory Bigsby, has just been sentenced to 45 years in prison. I wish he would have just gotten life, because he actually had a lot of charges in addition to the murder of his toddler child, who I believe he murdered him when he was about 2 years old. So let's look at the details. They're saying here that Cory Jamar Bigsby was sentenced Tuesday, and this was published on June 18th. So he was sentenced this last Tuesday to the maximum 45-year sentence, and the slaying of his 3-year-old son, Codi, nearly 3 years ago is when he unalived Codi. A Hampton Circuit Court judge sentenced the 45-year-old Bigsby to 40 years for second-degree murder and 5 years for concealing Codi's body, the charges the jury convicted him on in March. Bigsby called police on the morning of January 31st, 2022, to say that Codi, who by then would have been 4, was missing from his family's home in the city's Buckrow Beach section. He said the little boy was last seen in his bed at 2 a.m., and was nowhere to be found later that morning. Codi has never been found. But during a March jury trial that went 7 days, prosecutors contended that Bigsby killed Codi 7 months earlier on June 18, 2021. That's almost 3 years ago to the day. And they're saying that they believed Codi was still 3 years old at that time. And that they believe Bigsby buried Codi's little body in Prince George's County, Maryland, outside of Washington. Jurors took less than 2 hours to convict the elder Bigsby. And on Tuesday, Hampton's top prosecutor, Commonwealth's attorney Anton Bell, urged Judge James Hawks to sentence Bigsby to the maximum term. A person who should have been a protector became a predator, Bell told the judge. If the Commonwealth could ask for life, we would. He deserves every second, every minute, every day of that 45 years. Bell also responded to statements from Bigsby's aunt that he was a churchgoer growing up, which means absolutely nothing. My Bible says, "Thou shalt not kill," said Bell, who was an ordained minister in addition to being Hampton's elected top prosecutor. Bigsby's lawyer, Curtis Brown, asked for a sentence within discretionary state sentencing guidelines, which recommended between 13 and 22 years to serve. Fairness and justice, that's all we asked, Brown said. Nobody saw my client put any hands on Codi. But he was in charge of Codi, and he was the guardian and the protector and his parent. Where is Codi? Like, where is he? He was a toddler. He can't just walk out the house. It's not like an adult where you could just go missing at your own free will. He was like 3 years old. So whether we saw him put hands on him or not, where is he? So at minimum, it's neglect. So fair, and then of course you consider the siblings who saw their brother. They testify, so we don't know. It doesn't matter that we didn't see hands put on him. That's his father. He was in charge of him because he took him from the mother, and he kind of went off the radar with the mom. Like, wasn't really staying in touch. He is the protector and the guardian of this baby, and it's his responsibility. The baby is now gone. Explain that. So, anyways, they said, but Hawks, a retired Portsmouth judge presiding over the case, sided with Bell, doubling the guidelines. He killed this child with his own hands, Hawks said, adding that Bigsby didn't try to get Codi medical help and instead attempted to avoid the consequences of his actions. Exactly. He never called 911, nothing. So your son was supposedly missing. Why didn't you call 911? And no one, I don't think he even reported him missing, they said, until like 7 months later, after he really was missing for real. So you waited 7 months? Anyways, so Codi's mother, Dina Abdul Kareem, was the only prosecution witness at Tuesday's sentencing hearing. Kareem, age 43, testified that Bigsby initially had me fooled, leading her and others to believe that he cared about them. But in fact, she said, he was a sociopath disguised as a caring father. During the trial in March, Kareem testified that after Bigsby took custody of the boy of little Codi and 3 of his brothers in 2020, he wouldn't return her calls and messages. And remember, everyone, 2020 is when we were literally going through an entire pandemic. Everything was shut down. So just keep that, in context. So he took the babies, the four brothers, and then he stopped returning the mom's calls and messages. But later he emailed her about suspicions that the 2-year-old Codi was fondling his younger brothers. He's 2. He doesn't know what that means. And if he does, it's his fault that he does, because he's 2. So why would he know anything about sex or any of that? Anything of that nature is his fault, the father's fault, if that's what he was doing, which I seriously doubt he was doing that. All children at that age play with it, because to them it's just something else to play with. I have all sons, and they've all done it when they go take baths together at that young age, because they don't know the difference. It's just like playing with a foot or something. Like, they don't know what that is. But the father, who seems to not understand how to raise his kids, even though he has 4 of them, he says that he doesn't want to severely hurt Codi, because he's trying to protect the other his babies. Like, Codi's not supposedly his baby. That's your baby too. That's supposed to be your child also. He's talking about, I do not want to severely hurt him to protect my babies. Literally, he's 2 years old. Like, seriously? This story just disgusts me. But Bigsby wrote to Kareem. He wrote this to Kareem, which is the mother, in April 2021. And when Bigsby reported Codi missing 9 months later, Kareem immediately suspected Bigsby. The person who was supposed to love him is the last person he saw, Kareem testified Tuesday. I can only pray that Codi haunts him for eternity. She said the couple's other children, an 8-year-old and 5-year-old twins, miss their brother, and this is breaking my heart, and talk about him all the time, with one of the boys often asking if baby Codi is in heaven. Everyone just misses him, Kareem said. The fact that he's not around is depressing. I'm still suffering every day and every night, she added. It is something I'll never get over. Then Kareem turned to face the judge. I respectfully request the maximum punishment, she said. He never deserves to see the light of day ever again. Bigsby's sister, Tondalia Leia Butler, was one of the 2 witnesses for the defense on Tuesday. Cori has always been a mom and a person, even as a kid, she said. So his sister is bringing herself to come defend her brother. Like, so typical. Always protecting these bandits, like Chow Bai. Butler said Bigsby joined the Army at 18 and served for 20 years. And that kind of puts some stuff in context, because I know when parents are from the military, they can be very strict, because they have been conditioned to be, in the military, which is very strict conditioning. So that probably is playing a role, like the father not really knowing the difference of, like, when he's just being too harsh on a toddler. I mean, he needs to figure it out. But anyway, so Butler said Bigsby joined the Army at 18 and served 20 years, attaining the rank of Sergeant First Class. He saw time in combat, she said, with assignments in Afghanistan, Iraq, Kuwait, Kosovo, and Germany. That's not the Cori that I know, she said, of the charges he faced. Well, this is who the Cori is now. 20 years, that's a long time. A lot can happen in 20 years. People change, for sure. And he could be having some PTSD or whatever he's going through, but he needed to say that. Either way, still, he needs to still face charges. So, I mean, in this case, like, I am serious about mental health. So, I mean, maybe he needed some mental help, and it seems like his kid's mother was needing some kind of her own medical issues that she was having. So maybe the aunt or the grandma or someone else who is sitting here testifying for him could have helped him out or kept the kids for a little bit or whatever. Because it's like, here they come out the woodworks, speaking on his behalf. But it's like, where were you at when he seemed to be kind of unraveling while he was trying to raise his 4 kids? Because we know men usually cannot handle all these children, but they sit there and act like it's so easy to be a mom and be a stay-at-home mom, or just always be the primary caregiver. And it's not easy. So when guys do it, they pretty much lose their crap, as we can see with this case. And then the other case, the guy trying to drown his children in New York. And no one to this moment, as of right now, knows where that mother is for that New York case. So Bigsby's aunt, here she come. Where was she at to help with the babies? Nowhere. Jeanette Hennon of Maryland testified that she helped raise Bigsby in Maryland. Okay, so help raise little Codi, because like apparently he didn't do a good job of raising Bigsby, or he wouldn't have been doing that to his baby, to his toddler. So she's saying that Cory, I know, is a kind young man. She said, gentle, kind, a guy of integrity, and very family oriented. They keep talking about him as a young man, but he's like 45. He's not young. He's got gray in his beard. He's bald headed. His hair is his receding hairline, like his hair is gone. He's not a young man, and to me, it's making me wonder, like, are they talking about when he was young? Because, I mean, like I said before, people change. You're reflecting on when you raised him when he was a kid versus 20, 30 years later. He's a grown man. Stop trying to babyfy him. He's a grown man who did too much to a little baby. The person that they should be babying, it should be the baby that no one knows where he is. Are they worried, like, where he's at? They're not bringing it up. They're not showing any kind of concern. Are they wondering, where is baby Codi? Where's Codi at? Where is he at? You're trying to get his crazy dad off, these charges and to be his kids, but where's the baby? Did they come down and look for him? Like, how was the baby missing for so long? And like, no one's inquiring, where's the baby at? Don't give me. I'm just like, I hate him do a cover for these rejects, like these guys who just are so awful, and they just always have these women coming out the woodworks recovering for them, and sometimes it's even the older men. It's like, give me a break. Because if this is the mom and she was in the same situation, they would not be covering for her at all. When women usually we're more emotional, we have a higher, likelihood of dealing with depression, postpartum depression, chemical imbalance that will cause us to be depressed, and having, just mental illness. And no one gives us any kind of leeway whatsoever. Even knowing that we usually have the kids the most often, it doesn't even seem like he had them as long as the mom had them. And this is what happens. Where's the baby at? Because at least with her, the mother knew when she needed a break. I think the father needed a break, and he should have let somebody keep Codi until he could get himself together. So, because especially if the aunt is saying she basically raised him, maybe someone else needed to raise little Codi, and not dad or mom. So they're saying when he was a boy, the aunt is talking about she took him to church upwards of 3 times a week. Not that matters. She learned when she learned of the charges against Bigsby in 2022. She says she was similarly shocked. It was not the Cory that I know that I helped to raise, Hannah said. Girl, when was the last time you talked to him? You're talking about somebody you raised 1,000 years ago. Like, when was the last time you talked to Cory? When was the last time you inquired about where Codi is? How's Codi doing? You had to have known he was having a hard time with them. So Bigsby opted not to give a statement before Hawks sentenced him. Good, because nobody wanted to hear it anyway. But anyways, so a group of citizens that had spent time looking for Codi was elated with the maximum term. Thank you, Jesus, one of them, Nancy Strickland, said in a courtroom hallway after the sentencing, put both arms in the air. Justice has been served for Codi, Kareem said through tears at a news conference in the Commonwealth's attorney's office later. She's better than me, because I would be just a wreck. I would be trying to kill him, and I'd be like a whole wreck. Oh my goodness. So Codi's older brother, now 8, was the prosecution's star witness at the March trial. The boy testified that he found Codi lying on the bed. I hate when I have to read this part. So he saw his little brother lying on the bed on his side with his eyes wide open. His face was bruised purple. That's a sight he's never going to forget. The boy said he tried several times to shake Codi to wake him up. He went downstairs to tell his father, he said, but his father said there was nothing wrong with Codi, the boy testified. How sick are you to put your dead child in the bed, knowing your other kids are going to see him? Just disgust. Oh my gosh, I'm so bothered by all this. Because I feel like he shouldn't even had him. He went overseas. Maybe he's crazy now. I don't know, but he shouldn't have had these children. All these people talking about how they raised him and he was just as great. Why couldn't you help raise his sons? So they could still be here. All of them could be here still. So prosecutors contended the boy was dead when the brother encountered him, which I think so too. Prosecutors also introduced a series of statements that Bigsby made at the Hampton Roads Regional Jail after police locked him up on a series of child neglect charges. In the first three statements made in August and December 2022, Bigsby talked about how he found Codi unresponsive, tried to revive him, and then buried him when that wasn't successful. And he still won't tell anyone where the baby is. Because he knows if they find him, they're going to be able to put it together. The forensics team is going to be able to put it together and know that he killed him. And then he said in the fourth statement, geez, like how many statements he got? In the fourth statement in December 2022, Bigsby wrote that he killed Codi. We know you did. You're not telling us anything new. Maybe your aunt and your sister are confused, but we know you did. Everyone else knows. So on June 18, 2021, Cory Bigsby, walked in the room and grabbed Codi and dragged him into the kitchen, says a 2-page statement. Then Bigsby wrote he thumped Codi's head on the floor and beat him with my fist, and he went into cardiac arrest. Why are you beating a 2-year-old with your fist? I held him and prayed to God that he bring my baby back, the written statement says. So you really thought how much could he take? This is making me so angry. Then I took him in the room and laid him on the bed, which is, of course, that's, to me, is when the 8-year-old saw him and was trying to wake him up. So he said later he put him in a car and drove him to building 551 and dug a hole by the tree and buried him, and then went home and prayed for forgiveness. Where's that building? Where's the tree? Because that's where baby Codi is. That's probably the most honest thing has said this entire time, was this statement right here. Of him beating his own child and then burying him 5151 in that, near that building, near the tree. So he said, please accept, I don't know what this part means. My confession, Bigsby wrote, sincerely, Cory Bigsby. One of Bigsby's attorneys, Amina Matheny Willard, told Hawks after Tuesday's sentencing that Bigsby would appeal the verdict. And you're going to lose your appeals. I hope you appeal all of them. You're going to lose them. Bigsby still faces a host of child neglect and child abuse charges stemming from statements he made to police about the father's care for his other children, with many counts pertaining to leaving the children unattended. But I thought that single fathers were just the greatest thing ever compared to single moms. Bell said the case would go forward and I would be going for the maximum. The prosecutor said he's hardcore against Bigsby because the case has been so traumatic for Hampton and the entire 757 community. Everyone was asking, where's Codi? And people still wanted an answer, he said. The harm to the community has been exacerbated by the fact that we just don't know where he is. Bell said of Codi, there's only one individual that knows that, and that is why we're not going to spare 1 ounce of mercy for him. Exactly, because there's only one person who knows, and he's not telling anyone. So here we have more information around this story. So the judge was saying because of the family ties, the age difference between the father and son, and the fact Cori killed him with his own hands and never called for medical help, he had good reason to go above the sentencing guidelines that would have fallen between 13 to 20 years. So remember, he was sentenced for 45 years, and he's, I think, 45. So that would basically mean he's gotten life in prison. But of course, we also know that sometimes they'll say 45 and then be like, but he's eligible parole around 20 years or whatever. If I was that mom, I would be showing up every time he's eligible parole to make sure he stays behind bars. He does not deserve to be out amongst the regular public ever again. So here in the courtroom on Tuesday, Codi's mother, Dina Abdul Kareem, spoke about the impact her son's death has had on her and her 3 other children. I have to live with the fact that I put my kids in the hands of a sociopath disguised as a father, she told the judge. She said they're all traumatized and in counseling, and that the murder and trial brought back memories of Bigsby's psychological abuse to her. She asked the judge for the maximum sentence, saying Bigsby doesn't deserve to see the light of day again. She went on to say, I pray Codi haunts him for eternity. So Tuesday's sentencing date of 18, date of June 18 holds symbolic meaning in the case. It marks 3 years since authorities believe that the little boy was murdered. Bigsby admitted in a jailhouse confession letter that Codi died on June 18th, 2021, although he later recanted, and Codi has never been found. There's a jail. They said in a jailhouse interview with 13 News now months ago, Bigsby said he believed he didn't get a fair trial and that a jury wrongfully convicted him. Of course, he would say that. He's so worried about himself. Why don't you worry about finding your child? Like, where's your son? So here his goofy stuff is saying, I definitely was wrongly convicted. Bigsby told 13 News Now, this is trash. He's trash. Okay? He's trash. Cory's younger sister and aunt both spoke to his character Tuesday. Of course they did. Calling him a mild-mannered man. Doesn't sound like it from his ex that just spoke on this. And it doesn't sound like it from where's Codi at them, this mild-mannered guy. Being mild-mannered doesn't mean anything. Like, people who are quiet or mild-mannered or have an approachable face, like a face that is easy for people to feel like they can ask them for help, like, that doesn't mean anything. They can still be a complete sociopath, psychopath, narcissist, serial killer, like, behind that facade. So that says absolutely nothing. And to me, those people are actually more problematic because they always come as a surprise. You don't really see it coming. And because they're so quote unquote quiet or mild mannered, it just feels like, people just assume a lot about this person. Oh, they're quiet. They must be a nice person. Just because they're quiet you don't know what's going on in that person's head. So I feel like people who are loud are probably better to deal with because they are loud. They do speak out whatever they're feeling. So you pretty much will always know where you stand with them. The quiet ones are the ones you have to worry about because they're very quiet. You never know what they're thinking. And when they strike, you literally will not see it coming. So Bigsby's defense attorneys emphasized the fact that Codi's body has never been found and claimed Cory is not smart enough to outsmart the police, FBI, and any other agency that searched for the boy. And I agree with them. I think that, I feel like Cory, the father, Cory Bigsby, their names are like so close together, but I feel like the father is that's why he's not revealing where he buried Codi is 2 reasons. One, because he knows if he tells where he's buried Codi, he is basically admitting I murdered my child, or I buried him. Like, even if it was an accident, it's like, well, you buried him. You didn't call 911 to try to get help. Nothing. And then number 2, I feel like he knows that they will figure out that it was murder and it was not an accident. And then, like they'll see, even from a skeletal remains, they can see, the injuries. And then number 3, I'm going to have to throw one on there. I actually feel like he's using it as possible leverage in the future. Because you already see him trying to get out right now. He's claiming, he didn't have a fair trial, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like he also is going to try to use his own son's dead body to say, okay, if you all want me to take you to him, then I want a deal here, wherever, so that he can get out of doing the full 45 years or however long he's actually going to be in prison. Because, of course, they also have the parole usually that comes up. I don't know if he's eligible for, having parole, but they usually have parole in that sentencing somewhere. So those are the 3 reasons. This man is cold as ice. He's just cold. Like, I don't think he has any remorse for what he did to his own child. His little boy looks just like him, has his name almost like his. And I think he would have been like 6 now. And I think he just doesn't, I think the father feels nothing for what he did. I don't think he has any remorse. I don't think he's capable of caring for his kids. So it's really interesting to me when people try to say single fathers are better parents than single mothers. And I'm like, especially in this patriarchal society, men are basically conditioned not to reveal emotion, not to feel emotion, not to admit they have emotion, even have emotions. And then you topple that with him being in the military for 20 years, where he absolutely is going to be trained to basically think like a killing machine. Like, you're not supposed to have emotions. You're not supposed to be crying or whatever. You're always just, you're trained to kill. And so, you know, when you put those two things together for this particular person, because a lot of people can turn it off and on like normal, healthy people. But, you know, when people have just personality disorders or other mental illness going on there, like he's literally not even capable of having real emotions for his children, I believe, because the neglect charges were crazy. I didn't go into detail because I didn't want the video to be too long, but they were insane. Some of the stuff he was doing, for example, I think he left them at his house and went to go look at a car or something that was like 4 hours away. So they were little. I mean, they were younger than they are now, and they're still little now. And he left them. He either left them in the car or at his house, but it was like 4 hours away. Like it was a long time that he was not home, and that was just one of many incidents of him being neglectful. And I think he's so stupid that he actually told the police and the authorities like all those stories, I want to say, and that's how they found out, because otherwise they wouldn't even have known, unless they talked to the kids. But like, unless they talked to the kids and the kids told on him, he's just blabbing, and they're finding out things. So they say here, when asked if the defense will seek an appeal, his attorney said they had no comment. Following the sentencing, Bell said his office is ready to move forward on the separate case against Bigsby, dozens of counts of child neglect and abuse for allegedly leaving his other children home alone. Bell says Bigsby faces a maximum sentence of around 150 years total for the other alleged crimes, and he will be asking for the maximum sentence. He says he is being hardcore because he can't remember a case that has literally erupted our community in the 757 in such a manner as Codi. Like, everyone was looking for Codi, y'all. Like, everybody's looking for this little boy, and it's just insane. And I don't think the father ever came out to help search, which is very telling, in my opinion. Whenever, like, the loved one or supposed loved one who, like, especially the one who calls it in and says this person's missing, and they don't even go out to help search. Like, that to me is such a red flag. Like, how could you not? Why would you not? Like, unless the police told you to stay home, like, I don't understand why you would just be okay with sitting in your house unless you know it's because that person's not coming home. That person's not alive anymore. It's just vile. So, I don't know. It's just really sad how humans treat each other, and it's even sadder because usually the people that hurt you the most are the people that are the closest to you. They share blood with you. They're supposed to be the ones who love you. You've created life together. Like, those tend to be the ones who hurt you the most. So they said Bell said the continuous trauma of people reporting sightings of Codi was immense for his mother and family. People wanted to believe this 3-year-old was still alive. Codi is dead. That's just the reality of it. And him saying it just breaks my heart, because I know it's true. And it's just hard to hear it, because little Codi was like a toddler. He was a toddler. And the very person who's supposed to be teaching him things, like, if you find your child fondling the other kids, like, they're not fondling anything. They're just curious because that's another body part to them. They're little. Everything is new to them. He just came into the world like 2 minutes ago. That was a teaching moment for his dad, not I'm taking it some kind of way. And that's another issue, like, especially black guys tend to have. They tend to have a lot of homophobia. So, like, every little thing is just totally always blown out of proportion. Like, I remember with my kid's dad, he was always, like, weird about giving them baths. And I'm just like, bathe the baby. Like, help me bathe the kid. Like, what are you doing? It was, like, weird. And then, you know, like, everyone takes pictures of their kids, and, you know, because that's your baby. Like, you just had created this little human, and it's just really exciting. So you'll take pictures of them in the tub or whatever. And he was always, like, trying to cover their stuff up. I'm like, the baby literally is, like, 2 weeks old. No one cares about that, whatever that is. You know, it was just, like, always him thinking of those kinds of things with the baby, like sexualizing stuff around a baby. And I was like, man, like, I feel like black guys just have like a lot of trauma. I mean, I could say maybe all guys, but I really can only speak for black males. And I feel like they've been molested as a child themselves, or, I mean, I just feel like there's a lot of trauma in the black community when it comes to sex. Most of us have been molested, or the boys are taught to go have, sex with a prostitute to lose your virginity, because we don't want you to be, God forbid, like 18 and you're still a virgin. Like, and I say we loosely because I'm really not in this group, but I feel like black people put a lot of emphasis on like the wrong things. Like, they'll worry about like when you're gonna have a baby, or I want to make sure my son's not a virgin when he finishes high school. It's like, what? Like, is anyone teaching these kids how to take care of these babies that you all are wanting them to have, and like how their life should be set up so they can provide for their child? Like, no one's even thinking about that, and it's just really mind-boggling to me that like anybody would be pushing it on their child who cannot take care of themselves yet to have a baby. And I didn't know that was even a thing until really recently. I would see like people talking about it, and I'm like, that's a thing. And it makes me realize like this is why people seem to hate black single moms, I think, because they always think that all black people are like the same. Like we all have one brain that we're functioning in life with, is one big brain. It's like, yeah, right. If we had the one big brain, we'd have reparations by now, because we'd all be on the same shit of music to go fight for the same effing thing. But clearly we don't. Everyone's thinking for themselves and thinking different things. And so for me, my parents are actually very angry with my sister. I mean, we got pregnant. Like, they were just like, we wanted you to go to college first and get your stuff, get your career going. And they were very angry. Very, very. My dad actually hung up on my sister and didn't talk to her for like months. And she was already in the military. So she already had her own career and was with the dad still. They ended up getting married. And she had, it was like their first grandchild, and they were livid. So I didn't know that there were people anywhere that's like pushing their young child to have kids. Like, I don't know if they're doing it when they're teens, like, like underage, but they're definitely young, like 18, like when they graduate from high school. It's like, they'll be like, so when you gonna have a baby? It's like, what? Like, I can't even provide for myself. I'm still living with you. You can barely provide for us. Like, what are we going to do with another mouth to feed? Like, it's just crazy. And they never promote, being with somebody, whether you're married or a long-term partner. They never promote that. I'm not a fan of marriage, so I can't even pretend I'm going to, like, promote that right now. But at least promote having a healthy relationship before you bring a child into the world. Like, most times people are in long-term relationships, but my keyword here is healthy. So you all have a better chance of actually staying together to raise this child. And you all are on the same accord, and dad is not going to run off and be a deadbeat. And, those conversations you need to be having them, and also talking to the boys and the girls, just letting them know you're going to have to like financially provide for this child. And if you have any trauma, you might want to unpack that and deal with it before you have your child, because it's going to come out, in different ways especially once you get pregnant, all those hormones and stuff. It's just crazy. So I don't know. It's just something that we need to work on as a black community. I can't speak for other communities. I just know for mine, that's something I'm seeing that people need to work on. Like, don't promote just early, like, you have time to have babies. You don't have to have a baby fresh out of high school. So yeah, this because this guy, I mean, he has 4 kids. It's just, I mean, things happen, mental illness, you can't really always plan. He's pretty up there in age, so it doesn't feel like he had his kids like very young that we know of, if these are the only 4 he has. Of course, military guys, you know how that goes. He probably has kids in other countries that we don't even know about, but that he probably doesn't even know about. So it's just sad. The whole thing is just really sad because Codi should still be here. And it sounds like the mom, I mean, it seems like she had her own stuff going, mental stuff going on or medical stuff going on. So, yeah. It's just really, really, like, this is where you need the village. You know, people are always like, oh, wait, there's a village. No, the village is not you just sitting on your ass online telling me what to do with my life. The village are the people who actually will come knock on your door, help you, like, watch the kids for a couple hours so you can get some sleep or get a break, or go grocery shopping without dragging all the kids, or they might grocery shop for you. Like, you know, give me the list. I'm going up there anyway. I'll pick up your stuff too. Like, that's the village, like showing up in real life, in person, not just running your mouth online. That will never be my village. I don't know whose village you're in, but you're not in mine. You're not in mine. You don't have a right to fix your face and talk to me about anything, because who are you? You know, you're not anyone of any value to me. And that doesn't say you don't listen to people's advice. You can take, you know, you'll learn eventually as you get older whose advice to listen to and what advice to leave where it's at. But that is not a village just because someone is giving you unsolicited advice. Like, it's like, okay, so you're telling me stuff, good for you. And that's really all they're going to do is run their mouth. They're not going to actually show up in person and help you with your child, help you stay on track, help give you good advice on raising kids, or, you know, just trying to help out or whatever, or buying them stuff that the baby needs and things like that. Like, that's a real village. You know, that's a real village. So they said here that the judge, I want to say it was the judge just still talking. I think he's saying Belle. I don't know who Belle is. Okay, hold on a second, y'all. I think it's the prosecutor, but they say he praised the prosecutor, I guess, praised the resilience of Kareem as the trial progressed, explaining that her best friend died of a massive heart attack on the morning of her testimony. Wow. That is so sad. My condolences. Like, that is awful. So Bella goes on to say that I want you all to think about this. You go to court or you come to a city to be with a friend of yours, a loved one, because they're about to go through one of the most traumatic situations ever, which is they are there to testify about their child being murdered, Bell said, noting the stressful and anxious environment of the courtroom. He continued, and yet Kareem still got up on that stand and testified like a trooper and went through the abuse. When asked about his reaction to 13 News Now's exclusive jailhouse interview with Bigsby after his conviction, Bell called it narcissistic, and the first word that came to his mind was fool. Bell stressed that this case wasn't about him or Bigsby, but about the community. That's why the style of the case is the Commonwealth of Virginia versus Cory Bigsby, Bell said. He continued, people watching in North Carolina, Surrey, all over this region, outside the state, they were watching and following this case because it impacted them so much because people wanted Codi to be alive. That's just the bottom line. You want that baby to be alive. We still want that baby to be alive. But just the reality, he is not. So community members who have followed the case from the beginning filled the courtroom Tuesday. In the last 2 years, they put together search parties, created a Facebook group with nearly 25,000 members, and made t-shirts in the hopes that Codi would return home. They, along with Belle, and this is like just breaking my heart, y'all. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Whew, okay. So they're saying, they continue to say, they, along with Belle, said there won't be true closure unless his body is found and laid to rest. I really wish he would step up to the plate to give closure not only to the families, but to the community. Where is he? Where is Codi? Asked community member Cherise. However, Nancy Strickland calls today a big win. I am so happy for the mother. I'm happy for the community. Most of all, Codi got his justice, she said. And I just pray that Cory, the father, stays behind bars, because I am so over these people letting, these judges or parole officers, whomever, letting these people out. I watched this one true crime show, and I can't remember the name of it, but I want to say it was called like I should have been locked up or something along those lines. But basically, I learned just how low the threshold is for these prisoners, these convicted felons to get parole. Is really very low threshold, very, very, and I don't know if it's different in every state. It probably is, but I can't remember which state they were talking about, but I just felt like, wow, that's it. That's all they have. Those are all the measures they have to meet to be able to be let free and back into the public around the rest of us. And it's like, no wonder there are so many criminals out here committing crimes, because these are people that are really crazy. They should be behind bars. These are really dangerous, violent creatures. They should be in a cage. And because they had a job, had somewhere to live at the halfway house, admitted they were wrong or whatever, like the criteria is so low, and that's why so many of them are just like, I feel like that's why so many people do so much, because they know they're not going to be in jail for that long. I think some of them don't mind going to jail because they don't want to get a job, but they know at the end of the day they're not going to be in there that long. Like, I just don't think people are taking it seriously enough. Because why should they? I mean, they see that people just keep doing their jail time and coming back out, committing more crimes. It's just really annoying and disgusting and vile that this is like, for some people, it's just a way of life. Taking other people's stuff. Whether it's your mind, body, soul, your physical, materialistic items. Like, it's just like a way of life for people. They don't respect the fact that it's not theirs to take. In their narcissistic world, the sociopathic psycho world, like, everything is theirs for the taking. Everything. It's sick. So I wanted to, yes, that's the prosecutor, Bell. I wanted to look at this jailhouse interview, see if we can glean some more information out of it. This baby is literally his twin.
Has gripped Hampton roads for the last 2 years has come to a close.
Today, a Hampton judge sentenced Cory Bigsby to 45 years in prison. In March, a jury convicted him of beating his young son, Codi, to death. The decision coming on the 3-year anniversary of when prosecutors believe the boy died. Sarah Hammond was in the courtroom as the judge made his ruling in this no-body case.
It's a case that rocked Hampton and the 757 when Codi Bigsby was reported missing in 2022. Now, a judge gave his father, Cory Bigsby, the maximum sentence after he was found guilty of second-degree murder.
Justice has been served for Codi.
Codi's mother, Dina Abdul Karim, spoke to media for the first time following the sentencing. She told the judge she never wants Cory to see the light of day again and said, quote, "I pray Codi haunts him for eternity."
To me, this sentence means that he's finally being held accountable for his actions. For anything he's ever done to me, my children.
She says she and her other 3 children are traumatized, but are in counseling to heal. She also recounted alleged psychological abuse at the hands of Cori. Commonwealth's attorney Anton Bell said he was always going to seek the maximum sentence of 45 years.
We are not going to spare not 1 ounce of mercy for him.
The judge deviated from the sentencing guidance of 13 to 20 years because of the family ties, the age difference between the father and son, the fact that Cori killed him with his own hands and never called for help.
The fact that there's just simply no remorse. There's just simply no, how do you have no remorse for killing your own kid? That's the sociopathic problem that I have with it.
Codi's body has never been found. Bell and community members say there won't be true closure until the boy is laid to rest.
He should still say where that boy is, where that baby is.
Yes.
But justice has been served.
Sarah Hammond, 13 News Now.
Cory.
And I don't feel like justice has been served, because he still has not told us where the baby is. We want Codi back. We want our babies back. Like, we don't want them out, buried, out in the woods, wherever, alone. We want to give them a proper burial and truly, really lay them to rest so they can rest in peace for real. Just makes me so angry. And like the attorney said, the sociopathicness of it all, like, he has a nerve, the father, Cori. I hate even calling him a father. He doesn't deserve the title. But he has a nerve to talk about how he doesn't feel like he got a fair trial. He disgusts me. Like, you know what you did, and I can't stand that criminals don't just, like, take the hit. Like, you know what you did. You know it was wrong. You should just be like, yeah, I'm gonna just do my time. I have more respect for the ones who are like, yeah, I just want to give me the chair now. I just want death. You know you did the wrong thing. Instead of him just saying, you know, this is what I deserve for what I did. 45 years is a drop in a bucket for taking a life, a young life, who has never even, he didn't even have a chance to live his life. He didn't get a chance, Codi did not get a chance to go to school. He didn't get a chance to go graduate, to get married, to have his own children, to travel the world, to have the career that he's always dreamed of, or to grow up to get to be what he wants to be. He didn't have a chance to go to college, to make friends in the military like his dad did. Like, he took that from him. So 45 years in jail is nothing. Like, you've lived your life. You're old already. You're 45. You're halfway there. You've lived your life, and your son didn't get to live his at all. And you want to talk about, I didn't get a fair I just can't stand people like that. I feel like with these criminals, I never see remorse. It just disgusts me. Like, you're just so vile. Like, I always wonder, like, do they realize how much people cannot stand them? Like, they don't even care. It's like, I hate you. I don't even know you, and I hate you. So I know there's people in that courtroom that hate you. And for his sister and his aunt to stand up and fix their faces, like, I'm not surprised, because one thing black women are going to do is cape for a black man. I don't care how trash he is. We're going to come out the woodworks and put our capes on and save the whole day, just being masculine and trying to save him from himself. And I noticed all they ever talked about was, oh, when he was younger, and he was younger. He's not young anymore. He's a middle-aged man. A middle-aged man. The people who were young are his children. They're young. He's old. His time of youth, being young, the little young boy you raised, that's over. That's over. And I see that all the time when men are crap fathers or deadbeat fathers. They always have these women behind them totally enabling their bull crap. His sister made me so angry. Like, she was actually in another interview trying to say, like, she saw Codi that December, so he couldn't have been gone, like, missing in June, because she saw him. But then she can't produce any pictures. No one really remembers seeing him, but she knows he was there. Like, girl, bye. As many pictures that people take nowadays, you're telling me there's no pictures anywhere of him? And I want to say, I'm trying to think, like, it's around this time was COVID even happening. Because I'm like, how are you having a party? And we were dealing with COVID. We weren't even allowed to go out of our houses. So that would be another lie that she's telling. But either way, I just hate people who are trying to stand up for a grown person over your own nephew and great nephew. So that's it, you all. I just wanted to do a quick interview. Sorry, hold on a second. There actually was a jailhouse interview, and people were, like, mad about it. Hold on a second.
Yeah, Janet, we're taking you even closer into the courtroom and the years-long saga to find what exactly happened to Codi Bigsby. Codi's father, Cory, says he's innocent from behind bars, even after prosecutors convicted him of charges of murder and concealing a body. But this new footage played during the trial reveals part of why the jury ultimately found Cory guilty. For the first time, you're seeing what law enforcement saw in the early efforts to find Codi Bigsby. This is the video evidence that helped prosecutors land a guilty verdict against Codi's father, Cory Bigsby.
So you said you saw him last night, right?
Yes.
Where was he at?
He was upstairs in the room, sleep. I'll show you where he was at, sleep.
Here, you can see Cory telling first responders he hadn't seen his son on the morning of January 31st, 2022. He claimed this upstairs bedroom is where Codi slept, but that Cori didn't know where he could have gone.
I woke up this morning probably around about a little after 7, and when I came up here to get my coat, I noticed that my son wasn't in the room.
So when you woke up at 7, your son wasn't in the room, right?
Cori would eventually become a person of interest in the case. This video from an interrogation room shows investigators casting doubt on Cori's story from the beginning.
I believe something happened to Codi. He either slipped down the stairs, he hurt himself, he fell out that window.
Authorities eventually arrested Cori on separate child neglect charges before charging him with Codi's death. And in one of the most pivotal moments of the trial,
You can't write it yourself? I can write it myself. Can I give you this paper?
here is Cori writing one of several confession letters last year where he admits to finding his son unresponsive and taking the body away before calling for police assistance. In an interview with 13 News Now, Cori maintains he was coerced into that confession.
Whatever I got to do to get out of here, so they kept telling me, write a confession letter then.
Cori's sentencing is set for June 18th. I'm Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
Alex, thanks.
Just, gross. Yuck. Just a vile person. Like, his attitude is ill. When you're going to talk about black woman's attitude, black male's attitude is gross. Let me see here real quick. Because I think they said that he had a confession. Like a, what do you call it? This jailhouse interview.
Fully on 13 News Now, Cory Bigsby speaks from jail 1 day after his conviction. A jury found him guilty of murdering his young son Codi and hiding his body.
Tonight, Bigsby maintains his innocence. Angelique Arentock is in the studio after speaking with him exclusively at the Western Tidewater Regional Jail.
Cory Bigsby and I spoke for around half an hour. He says he's choosing to interview now because of what he describes as an unfair trial. And following Bigsby's conviction yesterday, people in the community, especially those who spent so much time searching for Codi, still have unanswered questions.
Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing. I need that because as soon as we find Codi, I guarantee you we'll find out that this is. No, I don't know what Codi is. I never knew what Codi is, and that's unfair too. How you gonna say that I confessed to something? If I confess to it, then I'm telling you, hey, this is where my son is. You should have been able to go get him then, and it should have been over. You should have been able to prove hard facts that I killed my son.
Shortly after Cory Bigsby reported his 4-year-old son, Codi, missing to Hampton police in January of 2022, detectives arrested him on separate child neglect charges. He stayed in Hampton Roads Regional Jail for months. Bigsby alleges mistreatment from the correctional officers.
They kept telling me, write a confession letter then. And I kept telling them I'm not confessing to anything because there's nothing to confess to. So I said, okay, I'll write a letter because they were telling me what to write through the intercoms. They were telling me what to write down on the paper, and I was telling them I wasn't going to write it. It went from that to them telling me specifically to write certain things that I wrote in the one letter that was X'd out.
In that X'd out letter, Bigsby wrote about beating Codi to death on June 18th, 2021. But Bigsby tells me he never hurt any of his children. One of his sons testified against him during trial last week. The now 7-year-old said in court, Codi looked dead on the bed in an upstairs bedroom.
And all of a sudden, my son come and say some stuff that was coerced, knowing my son never seen his brother land anywhere, lifeless, none of that. Oh, I definitely was wrongly convicted. This is trash.
Bigsby's sentencing is set for June 18th of this year. He faces up to 45 years in prison. Back to you.
And he is trash because I've never seen him have that much emotion when it came to actually looking for his child. Like, I don't see him showing any kind of emotion. Like, I really need to know where my son is. I'm so worried. Where's my son? Because he's saying he doesn't know where he is. Like, that's okay. That in and of itself, whether Codi is alive or not, would be a problem because you're his father and you were in charge of him. You were the one that's supposed to be taking care of him and you don't know where he is. And you're saying that like that's an excuse. Why don't you know where he is? Why don't you know where your child is? Where is he? Why are you getting more fired up about being behind bars than wondering where your son is? You're claiming you don't know where he is. Shouldn't you be concerned? Where is he? Where is Codi? I don't know where he is. Like, are y'all looking for him? he's not asking those questions because he knows where he is and he knows he's not alive. This guy's so full of crap. It just disgusts me. And it's like, to some degree, I'm actually glad the reporter spoke to him because people can just see how his true character is. But in another sense, I don't like that people give these evil, creatures, these evil things, so much of a voice. He doesn't deserve to, for anyone to know how he feels. We don't care how you feel. We don't care. And this kind of work is hard because you want to just lock them up and throw away the key. Out of sight, out of mind. You want to just forget about them. But it's like, you have to keep talking about it because that's really how you do get justice. Is talking about these things and not sweeping them under the rug. I learned many years ago that that's what criminals depend on, is the silence of their victims. So you can't be silent. No matter how much you want to forget about it, you want it out of your mind, you just want to move on, you just can't do that. You have to talk about it and bring it to light. And hopefully that can either save that child's life, bring Codi home, or save another child's life, or save a woman's life, a domestic violence victim. You just have to talk about it. You have to speak out against it. He's a liar. I saw a liar just now in that video. That's what I saw. I didn't see a father worried about his child. Why would your son be out of the house at 7 a.m? And how soon did you call the police when that happened? And I don't know why they think that Codi really was missing 7 months prior to when the father called and claimed he's missing. But I feel like they definitely they most likely have some evidence to speak to that the jury went ahead and just found him guilty. Because these juries, I feel like if they didn't feel comfortable, they wouldn't have done it. And then I know there's a lot of details, of course, in this case. So I know I heard something, but I feel like if the juries didn't feel comfortable that he did this, didn't really see him for that, they would have let him off. The fact that he's behind bars with no body, Codi's body has not been found, and they still found him guilty, I feel like there was enough evidence and enough circumstantial evidence, even just actual real hardcore evidence in the testimonies of witness statements, that made the jury feel like he did this. He's killed his son. Because where is he? I don't know a 2-year-old that just walks out of the house. Where did he go? I don't even know 2-year-olds can open the doors on their own. It just doesn't make any sense. It's where are the other kids at? Why he just walking out the door? Where is he? Where is little Codi? And I just need the father to tell the truth. And I know he's not going to. He's going to pretend and have fake outrage and pretend for a very long time that he's innocent until he's lost all his appeals and there's no hope for him getting out. Then he's going to need some more attention. And now suddenly he's going to be I can tell you take you to where he's at. 50 years later. So that's the update for baby Codi. I pray that, he at least can rest in peace now, that he's away from his abusive psycho father, and that I pray that they one day find him and that he can be laid to rest in a proper burial. My prayers are going to his family, his true loved ones, and I'm sending my condolences. I also pray that his brothers get the help and therapy they need, because who knows what they saw in that house with their dad acting like a psycho. And that they can come through this on the other side and maybe still make something great of their lives and not be so traumatized that they can't make something good of themselves. And hopefully they can become something that Codi will be proud of, and that they can go on to, live in his honor, do something proud for the world and be an asset to the world and bring justice and good to the world on behalf of their brother Codi. So thanks for watching, everyone. It's very tough to do these stories with the children. especially being unalive at the hands of their own parent. But they have to be talked about because we really want to understand why is this happening, and that these things do happen, because there's a lot of people out there lying on the internet and pretending that some people are better parents than they really are, or better people than they really are. And so we just have to have this conversation. So rest in peace, little Codi. I'm so sorry for everything that happened to you. And I hope their father rots in hell, in jail, hell, all of it. Just stay there forever. It's like his name is just too much. It's too much. He basically had his dad's name. And I just pray that the other little boys that are left are just, they live a good life. Like, I pray that they're protected and able to live a life free of abuse. He didn't deserve this. He looks just like, I'm just like, why even have kids when you just don't know what to do with them? So thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.